This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still treat each guest honourably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond.
It was like opening the door and walking out into the beautiful sunlight. And I never felt so well, because I couldn't believe that I could turn so quickly from worry and despair to bright sunlight. My name is Seymour. I'm 85 years of age. My grandmother comes from this country. My mother, who was born in 1886, was taken by the Catholic Church until she was 14, where she was given to an elderly man by the name of Folks, who'd come from this area and moved to Queensland, I believe, up through Broken Hill to Gympie in a bullock wagon, where she had 11 children to Folks, and left Folks for another man by the name of Booth, where she had other 2 children. Then he died and she married my father in 1922, and I was born in 1930.
My name is Laura Brearley, and I've been working with Uncle Dennis Seymour for 3 years. He's been undertaking a Master of Visual Arts at Federation University. He's just completed his Masters, and we've come here to the Flinders Ranges to celebrate that.
I visited this country the first time 3 years ago, which was such a spiritual experience that I'll never forget. Up until that point of time, I didn't belong anywhere. I moved to 26 different places throughout Australia, couldn't settle, spent 4 years here, 5 years somewhere else. But once I come to Wilpena Pound and walked over to my country, the spiritual experience was so great that my whole body seemed to fulfilment.
When I met Uncle Dennis a few years ago, he identified as an Utnamutna man and had a really deep affinity to this part of the world.
This morning when I arrived at Wilpena Pound, we were greeted by the General Manager, who brought me emotionally almost to tears when he welcomed me home to my country. It felt so nice to be really accepted and brought into somewhere that, acceptance. I've been a lot of places that I've been tolerated more or less, not really accepted, because you don't belong.
When we came here, I had no idea that we would find the story that we have. On the first night, we were fortunate enough to meet Vince Coulthard, who's a senior Utnamutna elder and on the board here at the Wilpena Pound. And he brought together family, and he did a bit of investigation and found that the records didn't demonstrate that Uncle Dennis actually came from this area. This was due to the fact his mum was born in Adelaide, and they know who their stolen gen people are, and he could name them. The feeling I had was one of despair, also the feeling of letting people down, that I've let my friends down, I've let the people down, I let my family down. I was really worried. What
What have I done? People will dislike me, they'll hate me because I'm so blasted liar, really.
He's aware of the sensitivity of the situation, and he's been extremely generous and gracious, all of them have, in honouring Uncle Dennis as a senior elder, but helping us now with this new journey to try and track down where his Aboriginal mum might have come from. We've spent the last couple of days tracking through all of the leads we have of family members and have found them leading to convict past, to England, to America. It's been very painful, very sensitive, and we are doing it with as much mutual support as is possible in this situation because it's very big news for him.
Well, it gives you anxiety, you feel empty in the stomach, your head spins. It's excitement to begin the journey. And also you get anxious. And what are you going to find? We discovered that I have connections here in South Australia. I just didn't come here by chance. I come here because I was guided. I had a guiding hand. I come here 3 times now, and I come here not because I had to come. I felt I really belonged here. And there's something here that's guiding me. And I think our journey has not finished. It's only just started.
Mary Jane was married to, or was with, Alexander John Mountford. And I traced that back to
Yes.
Mary Jane's parents, George Robert Doubtfire and Mary Ann
And Mullins.
Mullins.
That's right.
Mullins
is the daughter
so
of...
we've obviously been on the same
So
track.
she's the daughter of the convicts. At this point, we realised that the Utnamatna Trail is not the one to follow. We thought it was going to be Nyajuri, that's around this area, but increasingly it's looking like Naranga, which is down near the Point Pierce Aboriginal Mission. What we've found, with the help of the president of the Historical Society here at Burra, is that the child before the birth of Bertha Amy Mountford, Uncle Dennis's mum, was born in Port Julia, not here. The story revolves around Uncle Dennis's grandma, Mary Jane Doubtfire. We know that she had 13 children, probably to 5 different men. She did what she could to survive. We know that child number 8 was Uncle Dennis's mum. She didn't tell her husband that she had conceived to an Aboriginal man.
That's right.
This child was a secret.
They certainly appear that way.
Yesterday the search moved to the York Peninsula, and now we have a whole bunch of people also on the trail there. That included people from the Stansbury Museum who just happened to be opened 2 hours a week during the week, and we happened to be there in that time. So we were given information there.
We went down to Port Julia, the town I believe that my grandmother conceived my mother, and moved to Adelaide for the birth. It was such an eerie place to walk along the promenade in Port Julia and realise that the town where my mother was conceived and my grandmother walked on that land.
We went then to the Point Pierce Aboriginal Mission and welcomed most beautifully by the elder Kayleen O'Loughlin and 2 of her colleagues, Rob and Kay. The moment when she looked at Bertha Amy's photo and said, "Oh, well, she's Naranga. She looks just like my grandma," was a pivotal moment.
Oh, my heart, I'm quite sure I missed quite a few beats at that moment. And it's a great feeling to belong after all this time.
We had a connection report written for our Aboriginal family, and it took nearly 12 months, and we had an anthropologist do it. I'm convinced you'll get there, but it just will take a bit more of your time. So don't hold your breath.
So we've come to a point of just following the trail. There's another layer to this story now that only the archival material will be able to help us with. And that's where Uncle Dennis will go home, he'll get the documentation, and then they'll be able to go down another layer in the archives of South Australia.
Over the last week, it's like not 7 days, it's like 7 weeks. The amount of cramming we did, information, the beautiful people who answered the phone calls and volunteered information here, there and everywhere. Leads jumped out of nowhere. And that's how we finish up down in Narungga country. The leads that we picked up and followed. It was unbelievable that we could create so much stir in a state within 7 days. It was unbelievable. We stirred up the whole place. We must have at least 20 or 30 people working on our case, which had none 7 days ago. It's a way, unbelievable. I keep saying that word, but it's true.